Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Personal power equals control. A little formula that I probably made up. Who knows? Not sure where it came from. But it's a belief in a thing that I've had. It's a lesson that I've learned over my many decades of existence here on the planet that I wanted to share with you today. As we get ready in our setup for success, September this month is kind of our setup for success. Whenever you're listening to this, whenever you're hearing this, you can always learn the lesson from people that have gone before you, experienced people that have made all the mistakes that you want to avoid making, if at all possible. And one of these areas, one of these aha moments, and one of the lessons that I've learned through a whole lot of trial and error is that we all have, including me, more personal power, which means we have more control over things than we think that we do. Different situations. Often we find ourselves embroiled in situations, either emotionally or physically or in our environment that we feel like we have absolutely zero control over. This week, for some reason, people have been messing with other people in ways that I can't even have imagined. Just like I've had people mess with me in my life for, I don't know, their own reasons that I can't even fathom or understand why they would want to do that, why they would want to go out of their way to create problems and challenges for me, which they did intentionally, it turns out. And I was like, I don't understand why this is happening. But even though things outside of me were impacting me in a negative way, I had the personal power, which meant the control, to decide and choose how I was going to respond to it. People messing with us and messing with our lives, it happens all the time. Acts of nature, acts of God's, weather. Think of the weather. How much control do any of us have over the weather? Zero, but we do have the ability to respond. How are we going to respond? It's raining outside or it's snowing outside. We are going to dress or equip ourselves appropriately to deal with whatever's going on out there, right? We have to do that with everything else in the world. Stuff just happens. I want to say happens because it absolutely positively does in each and every one of our lives. But we all have the personal power and the personal ability to decide or choose how we're going to react, how we're going to respond, what we're going to do about it. I've gotten fired or lost jobs in the past. I got to decide how I was going to deal with it. What was I going to do as a result of that event happening in my life? Could I get unfired? No, probably not. But that didn't mean that I was shut off and that I didn't have any other possible things that I could do. My life wasn't over because I got fired. My life wasn't over because I had a broken heart. My life wasn't over because I have chronic pain or have experienced chronic pain. My life wasn't even over because I had a sudden cardiac arrest and died. Guess I wasn't done yet. Just goes to show you the personal power and the control we have. Even when we think our time is up, we get a say in whether our time is up or not. So my question for you today is, how do you react? And how you react tells yourself and the world a lot about you, whether you know it or not. And guess what? Everybody isn't going to see it. The vast majority of the people on the planet are just busy being themselves and doing their own thing or trying to navigate their own life and don't have any time to pay attention to you. I know, shocker. All that time we fretted and felt bad in high school and thought everybody was looking at the zit on our nose. And guess what? They couldn't have cared less. They were too busy about the zit on their cheek, worrying about their own situation to ever really give you 2 seconds of thought. Unless, of course, they were using you as a target to bully and make themselves feel better. That, of course, does happen. It still happens today. Mind-blowing. You'd think that as human beings we would evolve and get out of that kind of crap, but apparently not yet. We're not ready as a species to evolve to be better human beings just yet. Some of us, yes, some no. So, how we react tells the world about us. So my question for you is, on a scale of 1 to 10, just rate yourself in your head right now. How able are you to control yourself in conversations on social media, in conversations with people you love and care about, in conversations with strangers? Do you have the ability to just master your emotions, control your emotions, not necessarily let it show how you feel about certain things, especially if it doesn't matter? If it's a conversation that matters, you want to be honest in who you really are and show how you feel about things. But if it's a conversation with a stranger on social media about politics, seriously, can you exercise control or not on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being, no, I really can't. I have no ability to monitor and control myself in the way I behave. Or 10, yeah, I absolutely positively choose in those situations how I'm going to respond. I take a deep breath and I think, I'm going to scroll by. Or, no, I need to say something. How about in highly emotionally charged physical situations? Think COVID-19, people. Haven't we all had to test ourselves and determine what level of control and personal power we were going to exercise in thousands of situations, or at least hundreds, that have come up in the last 6 months due to and related to this pandemic? I know I have. I've had to say, well, does this really matter? How am I going to react to this? And COVID, just like politics and religion and many other topics, are emotionally highly charged situations. How do you respond on a scale of 1 to 10? 1, I have no control and I just go with whatever happens and I react immediately. To 10, hey, I am in charge of how I respond, how I act, because I am in control of myself, and that means I have really, really high personal power. How about in disagreements, in fights? How able are you to control yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 when you're, and I would say a disagreement or a fight is a highly charged situation, conversation combined. And then during conflicts, why do I use these examples and ask you how able are you to do that? Because chances are these are the most challenging things that you have to face in terms of exercising your own control over yourself, which is personal power. How do you want to show up in the world? I guess my question based on all of this is, how do you want to show up in the world? Even positive situations you might find yourself in that you're not sure how well you can control yourself. So, it might be you're watching a movie. It might be you're at a wedding. It might be you're at or attending a positive event or watching on a positive Zoom call, and all of a sudden you find yourself kind of losing it, getting upset or crying, or it's triggered something from your past experiences that you forgot that you haven't even ever dealt with, right? Or that you didn't even realize was impacting you from the past. So I love this topic. I would love to know how you feel about control and personal power. Do you believe that you have the ability to control the things in your life more than you've given yourself credit for in the past? I know I do. I'm continually learning and growing personally in terms of how do I want to show up? How do I want to respond to things? I still catch myself responding to things emotionally and being triggered. And that's just, to me, an opportunity to learn more about myself and to decide, do I want to continue to be triggered by that now and in the future? Or do I want to take a deep breath and say, yeah, I see why that bothers me. I see why that, tripped my trigger, but do I really want it to trip my trigger? Or do I just want to let it go once and for all? And not, most everything isn't once and for all. As much as we would like to think that we're these highly evolved beings, and once we see and realize that we're behaving in a way we don't like in a situation, we can just change it immediately and then go on, and that never affects us again. Yeah, wish life were that way, but it seldom is. I don't know if somebody's got a system that does that, where you realize that you're behaving in a certain way and you stop doing it immediately, and there's a tool or a trick or a strategy for doing that, and it will never, ever, ever happen in your life again. Please share in the comments below so all of us can learn that, so I can learn that, because I would love that. It'd be so nice to never have doubts, fears, or worries ever pop up in my life again with respect to certain topics, right? There's all kinds of topics like that where we have personal triggers based on our past experiences that remind us and cause us to feel doubt or worry or fear about certain aspects. Maybe it's about our kids, maybe it's about our past relationships, maybe it's about our current relationships, maybe it's about the world at large. Maybe it's about things that we think and fear might impact us that probably never will, by the way, but that pop up. We all have those. We all have those insecurities. We all have those things that just come up that we wish we could deal with once and for all and then never have to think about again. Would be nice. I'm still working on it. When I come up with it, I will definitely have you be the first to know. All right, have a great, awesome day. That's our setup for success today. I will be with you tomorrow with another life lesson, something I've learned over the decades of good and bad experiences I've had that I hope you can use to shortcut your process and your learning curve. All right, have an awesome day.